Jingle bell, jingle bell rocks. Season's greetings, everybody. Well, this is gonna be more like a bonus holiday movie review. And yeah, I know that I've already made that clear several times before. But anyways, this is gonna be a little bonus holiday review, since I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on It's a Wonderful Life. Boy, try saying that 5 times fast. Now, I'm pretty sure every single one of you might have heard about this movie before, whether you already own a copy of this film on VHS and DVD, watched it on TV at some point, saw it being referenced in Elmo Saves Christmas multiple times, or VeggieTales doing their own own version of it called It's a Meaningful Life. But just in case you guys want to know what this is about, here is the description. No one is born a failure. No one is born to be a failure. No one is poor who has friends. Simple thoughts that were the inspiration of one of the richest and most uplifting, most beloved American films ever. Frank Capra's classic tale of George Baily and his Christmas Eve visit with the Guardian Angel was nominated for 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Actor. After 45 years, it remains as the most powerful and moving as the day it was made. So, in a nutshell, it's all about George Baily having a bit of a rough time after his uncle accidentally misplaced 8,000 smackaroonies while dealing with all sorts of bad luck and wishes he was never born, especially during the holidays. And thanks to his wish, nobody he knows seems to recognize him, not even his mother. And his little brother ended up dying because, well, thanks to George not being born, nobody was able to save his life. Which, it is quite dramatic. So honestly, oh man, I can see why this is a very heartwarming Christmas special. Fantastic writing, fantastic plot with a beginning, middle, and end. Groundbreaking music, groundbreaking special effects. And it does have a very important lesson in not giving up hope. Because even if you're having a very rotten day, you can never give up on hope. Because things will end up turning out okay. And I guess George has to figure that one out. Thanks to a guardian angel named Clarence, who actually answered to George's wish as to what would happen if he never existed. Born even. Oh, man. It's no lie that this is quite dramatic. Even for a holiday special, you know? I mean, yeah, I know everyone has already... I understand that everybody has already been familiar with this movie before, but it's true. Sometimes life is never that easy, especially during the holiday season. Even George had to find that out. Something about this movie is quite amazing. And you know, I'm glad I decided to do this as a bonus review. I honestly think It's a Wonderful Life is fine the way it is. It doesn't need a sequel, no remakes, don't reboot it. It is actually a very heartwarming holiday special for everyone to enjoy. And I can honestly see why. Since it is since it is quite a fantastic movie, especially for 1947 standards. And this makes me wonder, why hasn't there been like a live stage adaptation of It's a Wonderful Life? I mean, yeah, I know the idea of turning this into a live stage show is impossible to pull off, but but I honestly think this can somewhat work as a live stage show. I mean, yeah, you would need a much bigger theater and a bigger cast, but still. No, I probably wouldn't mind seeing a live stage version of It's a Wonderful Life, as long as it's being very true and faithful to the original 1947 film. I can obviously relate to George Baily because sometimes even I have rough days in which I've never been born. Okay, maybe I wouldn't go that far. And yeah, maybe George might have exaggerated a little bit when he said he wished he'd never been born. But you can't blame the guy for having a rotten day. Something like this always happens to a lot of people all the time anyway. And George does have a right to be upset, but I am a feeling he shouldn't give up hope. It is quite ridiculous how George's Uncle Harry accidentally misplaced the $8,000, and somehow the evil Mr. Pottery ended up getting a hold of it instead. Dang, talk about, oh yeah, that's talking about misunderstanding. And that's another thing, Mr. Pottery in this film is quite heartless and cruel. I mean, I know that we can't expect every rich person to be nice, but Mr. Pottery is such an unlikable character. He's quite evil, too. Trying to shut down the bank. I mean, all he ever cares about the only one who ever cares about Mr. Pottery is himself. And, I know I'm being a little bit too hard about this since, well, he is just a character in a movie that was made like decades and decades ago, but still. Another thing I like about this movie is, well, there's just so many things to enjoy from this movie. Especially during the beginning where we see little George save his little brother, little brother, from drowning in a lake fish pond during the winter. Oh yeah, and I guess the kids during the opening scene were sledding down a hill on shovels. Now, I have no idea if that's what kids used to do back in the 1910s. Because I guess I assume sleds weren't invented yet. Or even a thing until decades later. But it does seem like a very fun and hilarious way to go sledding. As long as you're being very careful not to fall into the frozen water. Now, I'm still glad that George was able to save his brother's life. Although George would end up getting a bit of would end up feeling a little bit sick, and he would end up and he would even lose his hearing in his left ear. So I guess that somehow did a little bit of damage to his hearing. But I guess it was all worth it, to be honest. And besides, did you guys really think that George was gonna let his little brother drown? Not on my watch. Man, this movie really shows us what would happen if things would be different. If a certain someone was never born, and even during the holidays. Heck, I think It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas movie was somewhat inspired by It's a Wonderful Life. So I guess we had like two different Muppet movies that sort of had a connection with It's a Wonderful Life. It's a very Merry Muppet Christmas movie, and the aforementioned Elmo Saves Christmas. I guess even the characters in the Jim Henson universe can enjoy It's a Wonderful Life. Well, I think there was even an episode of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo called It's a Wonderful Scoob, which is sort of like a direct spoof on It's a Wonderful Life, but sort of its own separate thing in a nutshell. I just remember that. So I guess Sesame Street, the Muppets, and Scooby-Doo, and VeggieTales sort of have a bit of a As a Wonderful Life connection. And yeah, I know it's far-fetched, but still. But anyways, I honestly think It's a Wonderful Life still holds as one of the greatest holiday movies ever. And if you haven't seen this special yet, I highly recommend it. I mean, I know I have since I now own the black and white and colorized versions of this film on VHS. Yeah, I know it's kind of weird for me to have the same movie on VHS, but to be fair, I guess I watched the black and white version, and who knows? If I ever plan on doing a second look review of It's a Wonderful Life, I'll watch the colorized version someday. But anyways, thank you guys so much for checking out this review of It's a Wonderful Life, and well, that concludes the 25 days of Christmas movie watch plus one, which makes it 26 in a row. Boy, I sure was a little bit of a busy bee, even during the holidays. So I'll give this movie 5 angels out of 5. Make that 5 Christmas angels out of 5. Still a wonderful Christmas film, if you know what I mean.